Isaac Sarason is a skilled hacker, formerly employed by British Telecom-Sprint. When his health failed, Isaac did the only thing he could think of. He ran. A burqa-wearing doctor known as Fatima took pity on Isaac and helped him make his way to the mysterious Star X line. At the end of all hope, they found the Star X line and the slim promise that the enigmatic beings behind the Star X could save Isaac from the implants which destroyed his life. What do you do when those who saved you have recorded everything you are? What do you do when your every action is tracked by the Keylogger? Colbyjack.net is proud to present Firmware Keylogger, the third installment of Firmware by Colbytrax. Episode 37. I had to admire Eben's apartment. What it lost in square feet, it made up in luxuries such as a real shower and a toilet with water, and not one of those waterless things which showed up everywhere people didn't want to run a pipe. A few minutes later, Eben was drying himself off with a towel in the center of the room. "You do know you aren't the only non-human on the planet looking for work," Eben said with a smile as he dried off his crotch. I really didn't need to see that. "Are you always this immodest?" I asked. "What?" Eben asked. "It's not like you have any bits to get excited." It's not that. I thought you... I struggled to find the right phrase so I didn't commit another faux pas. "It's okay. Just spit it out. Was it you Muslims? Or you at Bedini? Or old folks with ugly junk?" Eben asked with a smile as he pulled a fresh pair of boxers out of the dryer. "It was one of the religious ones," I admitted. "I always assumed you were more modest. You dress so conservatively when you are out." "When I am out," Eben answered. "I am in public. It is proper to be modest in dress when one is in the world. When I am at home, I am allowed to be myself. It is not like there is anyone here besides a prissy computer to be offended by my behavior." "I'm sorry. I keep jumping to conclusions I shouldn't," I answered, feeling abashed. "Well, as long as we're talking about habits around home, I want you to know I enjoy watching my Roanoke Park Rangers games in low-class fashion," Eben added. "You don't mean," I groaned. "That's right. Tank top and boxers," Eben laughed. "Do you also wear white socks?" I asked. "No. White socks are not lucky enough for my Rangers. It's black socks all the way," Eben laughed. "As long as Dad is out in the open, I will make sure to be at work whenever they play," I answered. "I wouldn't want to cramp your style." "Not a fan?" Eben asked. "Don't really do sports," I answered. "I can get interested for a game or two a season, but I really haven't felt an attraction to sports since St. O'Hayes." "Did you suck at the game and now you can't enjoy it?" Eben taunted. "No, I mean, yes and no. Yes, I sucked at the game, but that isn't why I didn't like it. I think it has to do with my father always cranking on about sports and how much of a waste of time they were," I answered. "Funny thing is, he preached hatred of professional sports, and then when I turned 20, he went and started buying season tickets to the North Shore Pirates." Eben laughed. "Oh, the hypocrisy of the parent revealed at last. Do as I say, not as I do, and don't question me when I reverse a lifetime of rants." Eben pulled on a white tank top t-shirt. He then stared first from one camera to another. His face filled each of my fields of view in turn with a sudden intensity. "Tell me why you came looking for me." I stopped. Was this a trick? Was Eben going to turn on me if I answered wrong? "I am not completely sure." I hesitated for a moment before trying to continue with some tact. "You were the only person I knew who might help me." "Oh, good," Eben relaxed. "I was worried you were projecting your hopes onto me." "What do you mean?" I asked, wondering if this was a tactic to get me to admit something I really didn't want to acknowledge. "There is a tendency among the borderline religious to project their hopes for wisdom on someone of a different tradition," Eben said as he put on a pair of black socks and moved into the small kitchenette. He raised his voice to continue the conversation from behind the refrigerator. I mean, you were raised Catholic. St. O'Hays is a Catholic saint, right? I knew where this was going. He was more right than either of us wanted to admit. He's the patron saint of students, along with a list of a good 24 others. So, you were raised Catholic, and as you've admitted before, it didn't stick. Eben said as he began peeling potatoes. Then you find a mysterious religious figure in the depths of hell. I think we can both agree that the Amazov catfish farm was as close to hell as either of us ever wants to get. True so far, though I would change mysterious religious figure to masked man. You were a hero out of a graphic novel back there. I was trying to shift the conversation away from where I felt it was going. He even laughed as he began dicing an onion, carrots, and celery. Nice try, my electronic ghost, but you and I both know that you saw me as the magical foreigner, the foreign wizard who comes to the hero in the depths of their hellish journey and shows them the path back to life. That is so weird, I said, suddenly drawing a connection between what Ibn was saying and what Simeon had said Stephen had said to him in a rocket on the way to the moon a lifetime ago. What? Ibn asked as he tossed his chopped vegetables into a skillet, poured in some oil, and turned on the heat. My brother Simeon was told that he was in the part of the hero's journey where he went to the witch's house to learn the secrets, or hung from the world tree for 3 days to learn the secrets of the world, or something like that, I said as I tried to remember what else he had been asked. There was more, something about a price the gods would exact, and no one knowing the price. I don't remember you saying anything about a brother, Ibn answered, though it sounds like whoever was messing with your perceptions was pulling on a lot of mythical elements. The idea of the hero of a tale journeying into hell to gain knowledge necessary to save the world is a very old motif. Though it doesn't always have to be hell, it could just be to a wizard or witch's house, or even a stranger along the road. I'd be surprised the people who made you didn't try to use such classic imagery in their attempt at brainwashing. Brainwashing? How so? I asked. I remember them trying to control us. Eben laughed. Of course you wouldn't realize they were trying to manipulate you. It wouldn't be very good conditioning if you knew it was happening. You really think they were trying to brainwash us? I asked, and suddenly felt stupid. Eben ducked into the refrigerator and pulled out a carton of eggs. I would honestly be worried if they hadn't. I mean, look at you. You are an immortal being of programming that can live anywhere there's enough computer resources. And from what I see, it doesn't take much. What are you using now? I cringed as I remembered how far behind state-of-the-art the computer I was running on was. Let's say it was state-of-the-art in the year I was born. That's right. You have a being of infinite power, a digital djinn, if you will, who can live in a computer bought at a thrift shop. Now, if this were a tale spun by Scheherazade, the Magi who summoned you would have used as many different protective symbols and rings and seals and whatever else to keep you from escaping, which I assume they tried and failed at, because you are here, living on a box on the floor of my apartment, watching me make an omelet. Eben said as he cracked the eggs and stirred them around the pan. I don't think what you were making is an omelet. You didn't beat the eggs with milk or water. What you were making is scrambled eggs with vegetables, I answered. And potatoes, Eben snapped. You can't forget potatoes, Mr. Jin. Though if you were Hellenis, you could call it an omelet, if I remember right. I could look it up if you want, I responded. No, don't bother. There should be a bit of mystery left in everything. Even omelets, Eben said as he played with his egg and vegetable mixture. So, your masters lost control of you, and you somehow broke your bindings and escaped into the world looking for me as the magical foreigner with secret knowledge which resembled something a brother of yours named Simon. Simeon, I interrupted. Isaac has no brothers, only a sister. Why, I have 3 brothers. 3 brothers, so 4 in total. How very odd. Eben scraped the contents of his frying pan onto a plate and brought it back into the room. Not odd if you were making a Culpepper AI, I answered. You need to split the human psyche into 4 separate beings, give them stimuli, and use the results in a personality compiler to make a fully functional AI. So, there are 4 of you, each a fragment of a model of Isaac, the Ishmael I knew from the catfish farm? Eben asked as he settled himself into his SenseNet chair, which was the only chair in the apartment. He set it to a position resembling a recliner and set his breakfast on his lap. Yes, I answered. There was myself, Simeon, Samuel, and Samil. Let me guess, Ibn said between bites. Samil is the baddie. Actually, all of them are baddies of a sort. Samuel is responsible for a quarter of the city losing network access. Simeon has invaded nearly every commercial and government server in the city. I stopped as I tried to think of what to say about Samuel. I knew his intentions, but I didn't think he had gotten anywhere near his goal of killing everyone who had blocked his way. I guess there is a silver lining to fleeing the old prefecture, Ibn joked. And Samil? He asked, as he searched around for his television remote. Last I saw of Samuel, he was planning on killing everyone who got in his way, I answered. So he is a perfect devil, Ibn said, as he turned on the television and started flipping through the channels. No, not quite perfect. I believe he failed and is now running for his life. It is hard to tell where he is with all the problems Samuel has been causing, I answered. So, how many of you are there running around? Ibn asked as he settled back in his chair. If you mean Ishmael's, there's only one me active. I keep several redundant backups and data lockers around the world, but none of them will go active unless I fail to update them for more than a month. I answered. Ibn gave one of my cameras a dirty look. Are you stealing storage? No, Dad, I answered with mock indignation. I am not stealing storage. I am simply using storage lockers Isaac paid for but hasn't accessed since that last day at Amazon. Well, Ibn snapped, when we find him, you owe him for the rent on the storage lockers. Really? I paid for them, I snapped back. No, you didn't, Ibn responded. Isaac did, not you. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt until you get a job. But after that, you need to pay for your own bandwidth, servers, and backup hosts. You sound like my father, I answered. There was no way I was rooming with him longer than I had to if I was going to have to pay for all that. I wanted my own server, with built-in redundant backup systems and enough cycles to let me run anything I wanted without worrying about overheating. Though, now that I thought about it, I think this was Ibn's plan all along. I don't think he wanted a roommate either. Good, Ibn answered as he turned the volume up on the game. The familiar strains of the impossibly pompous city anthem blared out of the speakers. The game? I asked. Really? Rangers versus the Broncos, Ibn answered. Either shut up and watch or find something else to do. I'll be going, I think. I started up my interface system for the V-City when I remembered where the conversation had started. Ibn, before you started ranting about being a wizard, you said there were a lot of other non-humans looking for work. What did you mean? The city anthem ended, and Ibn muted the game. You need to incorporate. Form a corporation. Then you can use your corporate ID number to open bank accounts and bid on jobs, and all that fun stuff. He unmuted the game and turned it up extra loud. I had a feeling he was done dealing with me for the moment, though I am sure he would interrogate me about me and my brothers once he was ready to deal again. I logged into V-City and started calling lawyers who maintained offices in the V-City. Maybe I could trade some database optimization for a few legal papers. Damn, I was right to seek out Ibn, Fatima, Dr. Mohammed Jordanian, or whatever he called himself. He did know more than I did, though I don't think I ever thought of him as a magical Abedini before today. Firmware Keylogger is the third book in the firmware pentology. That's 5 books, if you must know. It begins where Firmware Proxy ends, which in turn followed on the heels of Firmware Hijacked. So you haven't heard or read Firmware Hijacked or Proxy, this would be a great time to head on over to Colbyjack.net and either download the podcast on the audio side, read the episodes on the visual side, or download the Colbyjack Sunday Reader issues 1 through 46 in your choice of either EPUB or Mobi. Firmware, Hijacked, Proxy, and Keylogger are all available in ebook versions from our store at shop.colbyjack.net, Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and Smashwords.com. Just search for Colbytrax. That's Colbytrax. I'm the only one. A complete audiobook version of both Firmware, Hijacked, Proxy, and soon Keylogger is available for download through our shop as well. If you don't need any stuff, but would like to support our work, drop on by Colbyjack.net and hit the pretty little donate button conveniently located on the right-hand side of the blog roll. If you're on a smaller screen, the bottom will be found at the bottom of the page. Firmware Keylogger is released under a Creative Commons, non-commercial, attribution, share-alike license. Do what you want with it. Just don't sell it, and always tell people where it came from. If you received this from a friend and want more information about Colbyjack.net and our split personality website, just drop on over to Colbyjack.net and select either the audio or visual side. The audio side carries our podcast, while the visual side carries our writings. Whichever side catches your fancy is fine with us. We're of two minds about the whole thing anyway. I do mostly Twitter, so if you do the tweets and want to follow me, I'm Colbytrax. That's Colbytrax. Thank you once again. Remember to be fabulous and have a wonderful week.